Welcome everybody to Designing IMSA's AI Intersession. This is our second cohort of students that has gone through this. Last week's cohort actually presented on Zoom. So I'm excited to be here live in IMSA with a live audience. Zoom is not as good. So thank you for coming today, everybody that's here. I hope you're going to think and think about questions to ask our esteemed panelists of students who have been working hard all week. My name is Britta McKenna. I'm the Director of Special Initiatives. And together with Sue Fricano and Rich Busby, we've put this intersession on. And now I'm going to have our student team introduce themselves.
I'm Anish, I'm a junior, and I'm from Elmhurst.
I'm Ankit, I'm a junior, and I'm from Naperville.
Hey, I'm Ahmad, I'm a sophomore, and I'm also from Naperville.
Eric, a sophomore from Peoria.
Hey, I'm Ashika, I'm a sophomore, and I'm from Naperville.
Hi, I'm Amelia, I'm a sophomore, and I'm from Deerfield.
My name is Michael, I'm from Naperville, and I'm junior.
Great. All right, off we go. So there are 3 design goals that we started with. The first, to engage with higher education institutions, students, and alumni with interest and expertise in AI. Second, to develop a narrative articulating the experience. And third, to launch opportunities to propose, tinker, and partner to begin prototyping possibilities in AI. And that is kind of the premise that I was hired under to execute. This is just an overview of our intersession last week and this week. I covered the origin of the IMSA AI Center, our fall 2023 AI Center milestones, a design thinking introduction for the students, and they all took a BASI entrepreneurial DNA test. And based on the results of that test, their teams were formed that way. Then they worked in their teams to research, prototype, and test their ideas. And then they also virtually visited UIUC this week, as well as the North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics, so that they could gain additional educational kind of inspiration and see what other places were doing with AI. Last week we went to Argonne. We had a physical field trip with that team. So we have 3 different teams that the kids were broken into, and first is physical space and people, the second is tech and tools, and third is programs and partners. So that is the lens that they kind of deep dove during the week, and then they collaborated. Once they learned kind of their area, they collaborate with the other 2 to come up with the recommendations that you will hear shortly. We framed our work. Their question that they decided on was, how might we design the IMSA AI Center to promote interactive learning? Last week had a very different question that they framed their work around. So with that lens, you can start thinking of your questions as well. So I'd like to call up the physical space and people team. Ashika, Eric, and Michael.
We sent out a survey, I think, this week, asking the question, how do we promote social interactive learning with the AI Center? And so our common response was to make an inviting space, non-daunting, and people wanted, 79.4% respondents wanted like an into as a space, and have an active space that fosters interest in AI. Some of the others being like a resource center, courses, or field trips. They also wanted equitable access to AI resources. Many of them found AI inaccessible, or also not being able to know how to use it.
When gathering inspiration and ideas, we spoke to multiple perspectives. 2 of them, including Vladimir Kindertenko from UIUC and Taylor Gibson from the North Carolina School of Science and Math. We had a few key takeaways from these interviews. A big thing that both people emphasized was collaborative spaces for students. This can be achieved through large open spaces, whiteboards, and the right people available. We were also able to deduce that IMSA does not need a supercomputer of its own if we can partner with UIUC. Finally, we were able to learn from NCSSM's impressive industry partnerships and curriculum, as they offer far more AI and CS courses and have partnerships with companies like Google, Intel, Microsoft, and more. While considering a physical space that was just right for our AI center in the works, we had multiple options, such as the computer lab, mailroom, multimedia lab, writing center, and multiple more. We had a large set of criteria that helped deduce scores, but we had 2 clear winners.
So to evaluate scores, we use a Q decision matrix, which allowed us to balance criteria with priorities. Our winner for a temporary solution was the computer lab. The computer lab is an already established space with many computers already set up. It's also neighbors the math study area, which is an open collaborative space. However, the computer lab also there's a mistake in the presentation to update.
Just speak to whatever you think you should say.
However, the computer lab doesn't provide enough space to foster an open and collaborative environment. For that, we would like for a permanent solution as the mailroom. The mailroom, while it has its drawbacks, given that there's a large cost of renovation, we believe that it could provide immense benefit to the IMSA community if we revamp the space. So when conducting our survey, and we asked the question, what do you feel will foster your interest in AI? And many students and faculty expected the IMSA AI Center to be a resource center, as well as provide courses, guest speakers, and competitions. With all these opportunities, all of them can be conducted in both a physical, but they can also be conducted in a virtual environment. So that begs the question, is a physical center really needed? Our conclusion was that based off of student, faculty, and staff feedback, that a physical center should not be our first priority at the moment. What we learned from the North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics is that students can be provided virtual opportunities focused on better curriculum and resources that could provide opportunities in AI. And AI should be judged based off of how it affects students' learning outcomes based off of every discipline, since there is no one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to judging how AI should be used within the classroom. However, we also realized that they also desired a physical location, which is why we still recommend our long-term solution in the permanent mailroom space. I'd like to introduce our next group, Ankit and Atmaj, and they're the Tech and Tools team.
So as we started designing the Tech and Tools aspect of the AI Center, one of the questions we asked ourselves was, what technology and services will best promote interactive learning in IMSA's AI Center? That's kind of the question that we centered all of our findings around. So we had 3 main points. The first one being that we need to provide our students with a variety of software programs that will promote AI usage and encourage programming. We also need hardware to back up this software and provide direct access to IMSA servers. And lastly, we need more programs to teach students and teachers how to use AI properly.
So to come up with our list, we consulted with various sources. First of all, we met with UIUC's Professor Vladimir Kindertenko, who provided a virtual tour of UIUC's AI Center and gave us lots of information about its hardware and computing resources, as well as software requirements. Later in the week, we met with Taylor Gibson from NCSSM, who outlined the structure of the NCSSM write an AI program, and all their initiatives. We also had a presentation from Rich Busby about system architecture framework, which framed our thinking process and allowed us to consider users' perspective as well. Finally, we have some web sources such as IBM's Deep Learning AI, which helped us find a lot of information on software. In terms of the actual software itself, we have Google Colab as a good option, which is a free cloud-based platform, good for collaboration. TensorFlow Playground is a great option as well. Since it's free, interactive, it has interactive demonstrations to teach and learn. PyTorch is a widely used software in UIUC as well as NCSSM, and it's open source and has a machine learning library. IBM Watson Studio is paid and an integrated environment designed to accelerate machine learning and AI development. Azure Machine Learning is a pay-as-you-go subscription and a cloud-based service by Microsoft that provides tools and services for building, training, and deploying ML models. Jupyter Notebook is also a widely used option in both UIUC as well as NCSSM. It's a free and open source tool, it's interactive, and it's a web application. Unity 3D is also a great tool as well. It can be free or paid, and it supports game development and is used in simulations of virtual environments.
So next, let's talk about some of the hardware that we need to actually back up the software that we aim to provide. So we took an approach that was inspired mostly by the AI Center at UIUC and the NCSSM representatives that we talked to. So UIUC, first of all, has a dedicated machine room filled with machines like the HAL cluster, the HAL-E, the HAL DGX, and a couple other machines that are listed up there. However, IMSA currently lacks the dedicated space, budget, and cooling requirements to keep machines of that size and quantity. Therefore, we aim to utilize the Epoch Club servers room and their single server tower that they already have. Even if we only set aside a small portion of this towards the IMSA AI Center, it would still be plenty to support all of our software. We also aim to provide our students with desktops which would directly connect to the server space, as well as letting them use their laptops to remotely connect. Similar to UIUC and NCSSM's approach to AI learning, we will let our students use this space as kind of a sandbox to explore AI and further fuel their learning before diving deep into their lessons. So as an overview of our recommendations, first of all, we'd like to keep the existing IMSA server room and the server space within that room itself, because we don't really have the cooling capabilities in any other rooms. Also, we'd like to give students access to desktop computers in the center that can directly connect to the server space. We'd like to also foster a partnership between other lab spaces within IMSA, such as the robotics lab or the makerspace. And this will also let us share tools and materials such as microcontrollers or sensors that they might have. We also would like to have corporate sponsors, which will be able to provide us with funds and access to the latest technology in AI as it comes out. We heard from NCSSM and UIUC that this was a major tool in helping them build their AI centers as well. So we'd like to begin with programs that actually teach students and staff how to use AI software and how they can develop new AI-based programs. Then follow that up with introductory free AI software, and then finally provide them with more advanced, interactive, mainly paid software. So that's all for the tech and tools, and now we'd like to pass it on to the programs and partners team.
Thanks so much. We're the Programs and Partners team, and over the past week, we've been looking how to integrate AI into IMSA's community. So we started off looking at three main things over the past week, and we found that we want to aim to add extracurriculars and the integration of AI into IMSA, and we want to form industry partnerships for funding and research opportunities for students, as well as adding more CS and AI related courses to the IMSA curriculum.
We started off with researching. We had three main ways of collecting info. Our first way was researching and looking at articles of other high schools and how they integrated AI into their curriculums. We also sent out a survey to the entirety of IMSA, including faculty and staff, not just the students. And we also spoke with some different educational institutions. Some people we interviewed are Professor Kinderdego, who is from UIUC and the director of their AI Center, and Taylor Gibson, the Dean of Data Science, who is also working on North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics AI Center. From the survey that was mostly filled out by sophomores, staff, and juniors, we can learn that a lot of people feel that resource centers are going to be more important for fostering their interest in AI, and they also voted for guest speakers and field trips to other AI facilities that might help them learn more about AI. Another question we asked in this survey was what they really felt like the IMSA's AI Center should have, and they mentioned that they want it to be very collaborative, informing, and they want to have AI integrated into courses.
To expand on the first slide, come up with a few things that we can try to start integrating into the IMSA community. Firstly, some events. For example, hackathons. These events are a great way to form a competitive and collaborative environment for students. And these hackathons can later lead to partnerships if we source the hackathons through third-party companies. Next is like an AI-focused club. This can either be a club chartered just to AI, or it can be a branch off of an existing CS club, like Code Society, Epoch, or Olympians. And next, guest speakers. We feel this is a really unique experience that gives students the opportunity to get the experience of a first-hand person in the industry. Next, we think this is a really important part of advancing IMSA in their AI journey as courses. Right now, the only Python courses we have are with CSI, which provides basic foundation for Python, and we want to focus on adding more courses related to Python, data structures, and algorithms. Based on our survey, we also saw interest in courses that explain the ethics of AI, and so, and then we also want to try to integrate AI into other subjects, for example, the cybersecurity course. Lastly, the learning opportunities. We know that IMSA conducts some summer programs, and we want to expand their scope to include AI. So this will give students that they don't have to be from IMSA, but they can, research opportunities over the summer, which can also contribute to funding. And second is spreading the awareness of AI in like acronym and hadron, just to get the word out. And lastly, just like training sessions on the softwares that the Tech and Tools team mentioned, if they ever do get implemented into our program.
Some potential partners we looked into, specifically university-wise, was UIUC and UIC. These universities already have pre-existing AI programs, and we want to join in on that. An organization that's not on this slide is Northwestern. They also have plenty of AI programs that we might want to collaborate with in the future. Some opportunities these organizations that I've listed might provide us are summer programs, internships, independent research opportunities, and guest speakers. We also want to work with some national labs such as Argonne and Fermi Lab. Their locations are great, they're near us, and we already have a pre-existing connection with them, so they'd be great partners in developing this field of AI here. Some large companies we also want to eventually look into are OpenAI, IBM, Watson, Orchestrate, and Microsoft. We're currently speaking with Microsoft about developing internship opportunities for IMSA students, and eventually we want to invite OpenAI and IBM to come to the AI Center and speak about their developments in their field.
And lastly, that's just to sum everything up for recommendations. We strongly urge IMSA to add more CS and AI focused courses that build students' foundation around these topics. We also want to see more integration of AI into IMSA because just exposing students and staff to opportunities regarding AI will automatically foster interest. And lastly, forming partnerships with companies. This will give IMSA actual capital to start developing the AI Center. That's all we have. Thank you.
So the last activity I did with the students was called 2029 Headlines from the IMSA AI Center. And so these are the top 3 vote getters. IMSA launches 3 new AI-based summer camps for learners. Another one is IMSA robotics team wins national AI champ competition. I'm like, yay. Microsoft and OpenAI sponsor IMSA AI Center's educational programs. So, not too far away, 2029. Those are all doable things. Hard work. Next steps. So you're wondering, all right, what are we going to do next? We've had intercession. We can check that off the list. IMSA will decide on where the AI Center prototyping space will go. That could be weeks to months, but we anticipate that could be this semester. So you can see me and the interns may follow wherever that is going to go. Flint AI will be piloting this semester with some faculty and staff and classrooms, thanks to a Stephanie Pace Marshall AI Innovation Grant from the IMSA Fund for Advancement of Education. IMSA faculty and staff theme teams continue to meet monthly at Into. The IMSA.ai students Into group, it's not a club because we can't start any more clubs, but it is actually working through Into. There's about 30 students working in this group called IMSA.ai. They're engaged in 3 different AI projects actively and just finished an internship, an intercession, sorry. Half the intercession this week on that. AI Center interns, Neve and Rachel, yes, yay, they're great. They continue with their AI Bites, Lunch and Learns, and Sandbox sessions, they'll start up at the last Wednesday of this month with an AI educational tools, I think. Revision, finding more of those. And then IMSA is to hire a full-time AI lab director at some point, right? The job's posted. This is not an easy job to fill. I don't think anybody went to school exactly to be an AI lab director, but if you know somebody, have them for it. And I'll be writing a white paper with my findings before I depart, end of June, with findings and recommendations, and kind of a playbook for the AI Center as it moves forward. Now we're on to questions. This is the fun part too. So I want to encourage you all to ask a question. Just raise your hand and I'll bring the microphone to you. And then I'll bring the microphone up to the students so that we can hear this on the recording. Yes, Rachel went first.
So I'm really curious once you mentioned this, but do you guys think that you can tell me more on your discussions with Microsoft and like the potential partnership?
Do you want me to answer this? This is a brand new discussion we're having. Reaching out to Microsoft, having active discussions. So we haven't even had the meeting yet. I just shared with them that this will happen, and actually you all will be invited to the meeting.
Oh.
Next question. Actually, Neve had his hand up.
So I know you mentioned institutions like UIUC, UIC, as well as some national labs, and that really reminded me of the SIR program and the internship program. So I was just wondering, are you guys planning, or do you recommend the AI Center collaborate within IMSA with programs like the SIR internship program, or other programs that give students hands-on opportunities to do research and maybe make that specifically AI focused?
Who'd like to answer that? All right.
We were thinking more of making it specifically AI focused because I know there are a lot of SIRs that are currently working with those and they have their mentors already. I don't want to make this the same as an SIR. I want to make this more AI focused and maybe a bit less one-on-one and an opportunity for students to get interested in AI and see what other companies and organizations are doing.
Anybody have anything they want to add to that?
Yeah, just adding along to that, I feel like there's already a number of students who are working on SIR AI projects, but if we can just provide them connecting with these universities be able to provide them with a server space or a larger computing machine to be able to go about what they're doing already, I think that could be a huge resource for them as well.
Dr. Redberg?
So I was here for the UIUC virtual visit, and Britta asked about a partnership process, and the Professor Vladimir, whose last name I've forgotten, said that the core is for a mutual benefit. I'm just wondering how the group of students thought about. We know what we can get from Microsoft or OpenAI. We know what we can get from UIUC. We know what we can get from Argonne. What does partnering with IMSA bring to those institutions in the imagination of this group?
So what can we give in return of value to them? Who wants to answer that?
Great question, Dr. Redberg. So what we can give back to UAC, we can give back our students. So we can put them on with SIRs to help professors, as well as most of our students do end up going to UAC for undergrad. So we're leading students or business their way.
Yeah, and adding on to that, if our students have experience in high school itself with AI technology and more aspects of it, it will give them a greater edge once they enter universities like UIUC, UIC, etc.
Piggyback off of that, some things we can offer back in turn to UIC. When I was there for the interview with Vlad, he mentioned that UIC is very into industry-related problems, and I was thinking through these programs we could, possibly provide future employees at Microsoft and other companies like that. So getting a basis and already knowing the company would be a great heads up for people that might potentially work there.
Another question? Yes, Ben.
Yeah, I see that you did a survey of the student body to see what their interest was, and one of the items that they asked for were courses. And I also saw that you had 5 courses types of courses that you were recommending. Did the survey actually get to that level of detail, or did you use some other process to decide what courses you would recommend?
Unfortunately, the survey did not ask what the students what specific courses they wanted to add. We actually took our courses from the interviews we did with Vlad and North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics. So we took a lot of inspiration for all the CS classes from UIUC because Vlad recommended that something very important for people developing a career in AI is advanced Python and learning more coding languages. So we decided to add some of those courses, and we took some inspiration from NCSSM from their CS classes, and specifically their arts and writing classes. We decided that instead of just speccing into science and all the models and stuff, we could add some AI into other curriculums.
Furthermore, Python and data structures are a big part of what goes into making all these AIs, and it's a big part of machine learning as well. So I think it's really important just to have these courses there to offer for our students.
Another question.
Can I get a quick follow-up?
Oh, sure, you can get a quick follow-up.
Every one of those courses sound excellent, and if I were a student here, I would be very excited to take all of them. My question is, if you imagine those courses were available today, or this year, or next year, would you have time in your schedule to take them?
Interesting question. 2 very busy IMSA students.
Yeah, I think a lot of the IMSA students would be open to this because we have gauged continuous interest in
Yeah, so just to add on to that, in our survey that we conducted, why students haven't gone to AI, if they wanted to, I think 50% of them said that it's just locked behind a paywall. There's subscriptions that they can't get past, and I think that classrooms can really help just unlock that. And I think another 25% said that they just didn't know where to start. So classrooms with just guided instruction could really just benefit students, because there are students who want to learn, they just don't know where to start.
All right, question out, peanut gallery.
Alright, first off, I actually have two questions. So first is, I believe it's very important that for many students who are interested in AI and actually have knowledge about AI, doing some more advanced machine learning or other AI related things requires more computational resources than they have. So, as you mentioned, getting access to the Epoch server may be very useful. Do you have any more specific plans on timelines for access to the Epoch server or any other computational resources that you might be able to provide to students?
Okay, so I could just actually elaborate on the status of the Epoch servers as of right now. I know they have access to the servers, but they're sort of just negotiating with admin because they need to log on to the servers to access that, and they currently can't connect to the internet because these are private servers technically. So that's just where Epoch servers are right now. They just need really just internet to log into their servers to use them. As of other resources, other resources that the AI Center could offer are just cloud-based resources. We obviously can't host a supercomputer on campus, but there are subscriptions that you could pay for that could offer you just extra computational force, basically.
To add to that, we visited Argonne last week. Argonne's very excited to work with our teams, our faculty, our classes, our students. We can work with them if there's mutual benefit on a project for time on their supercomputers. But it has to be a project that needs the supercomputers. So it's kind of like a step-up process. You've got your laptop, you've got your Epoch, right? Then you graduate up, and so the AI Center can be one of those places that can help you negotiate that. Or if you're with your SIR advisor, and your SIR advisor is from a major university that has UIUC, they have their own supercomputer. So if you're working on a project with them, right, then you'll have access, you'll be able to gain access through that advisor or that mentor. And I think those are things that we'll be negotiating through partnerships in the future.
We do have a Jupyter Notebook server.
Oh, Jupyter Notebook,
We do
yes,
have
sorry,
that.
thank you, Dan. Yeah, so we've got kind of a step up.
And the special Marshall grant just is going to add to that.
Yep,
By creating
thank you.
another-
Right, so we're actually adding to the resources that we have to enhance all of those things, so we're ready for those steps. Did you have another question?
Yes. Alright, so my second question was, beyond just the educational idea of providing students the ability to learn about AI, how does the AI Center plan to support students once they have knowledge, either through other programs or through programs hosted by the AI Center? How does IMSA plan to support students and allow them to engage with other students and potentially people in people from universities or other fields in working on applications of AI or other research in the AI field or projects in the AI field?
Okay, similar to the last question, I think the AI Center could be a conduit for you to come to say, here's the project I'm working on, right? And we could say, oh, did you know you could be on an IMSA.ai team? Did you know, have you thought about an IMSA SIR in that area, right? So we could help you navigate the opportunities, or if you're developing, you could develop it through into resources. You could apply for grants, right? And then you can be coached maybe by mentors, alumni mentors too, that we're hoping to build that resource of a backbone of alumni, IMSA alumni that know AI. So I think we're going to be able to navigate and be a resource center for you and be able to send you in different directions based on your needs and your abilities. And if you're a sophomore, you might have to wait a little bit because sophomores have to kind of get their feet wet around here and make sure we know that you're comfortable and you're doing well in classes before we give you additional things to add on.
I had a question for the space team. I think you mentioned they wanted a space. Did you mean North Carolina wants a space?
Yeah.
Okay, and then did they share with you why or what they would envision being in that space?
They pretty much just mentioned that it would be a great place to collaborate and meet with people, and they felt that that was really powerful beyond just virtual engagement. It would just help.
And the student that was actually on the call from North Carolina had said that they, well, also, and the faculty, that they are space constrained. It's an old hospital. They just don't have space. They're very envious of that we actually have space we can consider transforming into other things that we have into, right? So we're always, looking across to see where the grass is greener, but they are space constrained, but they do want a physical space, but they just don't have any space to turn into an AI center. So it's mostly virtual and resources at this point. We got time for one more question. Okay. You all want to say any closing remarks, or are we good? Well, I think they did a fantastic job, right? It's not easy to pull your research and everything together in 4 days. And then I was pretty hard on them on getting ready for this presentation, and they responded well to be ready for you today and to present. And we thank you all for being here to ask the questions and be the audience. And let's give them a round of applause.